In this special edition of Fulton Today, the COVID-19 update. Details from county leaders about the phased-in approach the county is taking to reopen the government. We'll hear directly from them. And more walk-up COVID-19 testing sites are available in the county for the public. We'll give you the contact information. And how has the coronavirus changed the early voting process in the county? We're at one of the sites now, and we will have that answer. Those stories, plus information about the convenient way for you to get your vehicle tag registration without certain fees, it's all in this special Fulton Today COVID-19 update. Welcome to this special edition of Fulton Today, the COVID-19 update. Fulton announces its early plan to try to reopen the largest county government in the state, albeit a soft opening with a phased-in approach. Top county leaders say it's all about keeping their employees and the public safe. Dick Anderson is the Fulton County Manager. Anna Roach is the Chief Operating Officer. Welcome to this special edition of Fulton Today.
Thank you for having us.
Mr. Manager, let me start with you. What do COVID-19 health indicators tell us about the virus in Fulton County? And then secondarily, the emphasis on COVID-19 testing seems clear. So what about the marketing and advertising to inform the public?
It's clearly still a serious situation. But the good news is the indicators that we review each week and publish as well indicate a declining trend. So we can see that in new cases, we can see it in the percent of new cases that have been tested. We can also see it in the number of beds that are COVID related, which is about 248 now, and it was over 100 more than that about a month ago. So the indicators are headed in the right direction. At the same time, what we know is testing is really critical, and we've been emphasizing that for some period of time. In fact, we've been a leader in the state of Georgia, and I would say nationally as well. Of all the tests that have been done in Georgia to date, we've done a quarter to a third of those, and of course we represent 10% of the population, so we're over-indexing in terms of the amount of testing that we've been doing. And as you know, we've been doing it through our own capabilities, both in the north, the central, and the south, where we have 3 sites. We also do it with partners like the National Guard, retailers like Walmart and CVS, and most importantly, all of our hospitals. So those combined, as of today, have done about 100,000 tests, which is very significant. And we're doing about 3,000 per day through all of those partners. But one of the things that we realize is that we can do even more, and we can do even more tests with those same partners and with the capacities that we have today. We have the capacity to do about 4,500 tests a day, so we'd like to, through creative marketing, public education, and fundamental outreach, get our citizens in a mode of knowing the value of testing and how easy it is to be tested and the many locations that they can be tested at. Whether it's to prepare to come back to work, whether it's just peace of mind for yourself and for your family and friends, testing really is an option that everyone should avail themselves of, and we're going to be emphasizing that through an innovative marketing and outreach campaign that will begin shortly.
And sir, please tell us about a new initiative for a jail medical isolation unit approved by the BOC.
So our Fulton County Jail, of course, has almost 3,000 people in it at its height. It has been managed down to something much less than that, about 2,500 or so today. And the jail leadership has done a superb job of containing the virus. And there has not been what I would consider to be a catastrophic outbreak, which has occurred in other places across the country. One of the things that we brought to the Board of Commissioners is the proposal to look at a jail medical isolation unit, which would isolate folks that did have COVID-19 symptoms and then ultimately test positive. It is not a small undertaking, both in terms of the ability to construct these units as well as the funds that would be necessary to bring those up. So that proposal will be considered by our board. I'm sure they will have to deliberate both in terms of the proposal itself as well as the trade-off between those dollars being spent on that initiative versus other initiatives. And these are difficult decisions that only the policymakers can make, but we have done the homework to determine the cost, the time frame, and the legitimacy of making this decision. So that will be something our board will be considering in the near future.
Also, there's a new effort to school-based therapist was approved in response to COVID-19. What's the impact of that? And explain that to everyone.
So we're very excited about a partnership that we've developed with our schools. In Fulton County schools, as we looked at the details there, and particularly in a COVID-19 environment, of what kind of pressures are our children under, and specifically, again, in terms of isolation, feeling disconnected, and really being in need of potential therapist-based services. So as we looked at our Fulton County schools, first of all, there's about 20 that had no therapist there in terms of the ability for either a parent or a child to be in contact with. There was about another 38 that looked to be in danger of losing that coverage that exists today due to lack of funding. So over half of our Fulton County schools were in a position that we felt like the county had to step in and expand that capability. So we brought that proposal to the board. We already have contracts with 2 quality providers, Chris 180 and Summit Counseling, and the board approved that. I was very pleased with that action because it really steps into the breach where otherwise there would have been a gap, and at a critical time because of this disruption in our school calendar and the lives of our students. That's the first phase, is just really stabilizing that in Fulton County schools. The next phase is to look at APS in the same fashion, because we believe there are gaps there as well. And really the end goal is to have a consistent approach across all the schools in Fulton County, in Atlanta Public Schools as well as in Fulton County schools. And again, with the county being the leader that it's already establishing itself to be in terms of behavioral health, I think this was a natural, and the timing was perfect in terms of the effects of COVID-19.
And sir, early voting is underway. What should citizens expect in terms of planning a safe and secure voting process?
So voting has now started in Fulton County, and of course voting is fundamental to our democracy. Of course, with COVID-19, it introduces a whole new set of complications. The safest way to vote is by absentee ballot. And by the way, we've received a record number, over 4.5 times our normal number, and we've processing those as we speak. So over 139 citizens have applied for an absentee ballot. At the same time, we do have early voting locations in 5 places in Fulton County. And by election day, of course, we'll have 166 or so locations. All of those are reduced, though, from our norm. And in addition to that, of course, we have social distancing requirement, less machines, all for the reasons to keep folks 6 feet apart and protect the public. So we're having to act and adjust. So as we put those locations in place, we are finding in several instances that we did have lengthy lines to begin with. We have made adjustments, added new machines, expanded the rooms that we were in those locations. So we hope to alleviate the lines that existed initially. But I would still encourage everyone to continue to think about, first of all, that using absentee voting is a preferred way of voting in this election. We have also put drop boxes to secure that absentee ballot if you don't want to use the mail system. But if you choose to vote in person, we have that option available, and we're doing everything possible to make that safe. But please be patient with us and realize that this is not a situation normal. This is very much unusual, just like it is in every retail business operation that you go into or everything that you try to interact with these days. During this crisis, it will be different.
And now to you, Anna, with thousands of county employees and thousands of members of the public who in normal circumstances visit county facilities, what are the reopening plans for Fulton County government?
We were delighted to present the reopening plans for the county to the Board of Commissioners. One of the first things that we reviewed with them was our strategy to open our county in 5 phases spread over 3 broad categories. The first thing that we want to do is to bring in employees of our administrative offices that don't have contact with the public. And the reason why we want to start with those offices is it gives us an opportunity to test out our reopening approach without the complication of having the public involved in it. So the first phase of our reopening plan begins with the tax assessor. And again, he brought his back office staff back into the office, and that successfully happened. And then the second phase is going to be our administrative back offices for the executives. So we will have our finance department, HR department, procurement, and a number of other offices in our government center return to work on June 1st. We're very excited. It's going to be the first major opening that we're happening, and that's going to be happening. And again, we're going to start with just those employees that work in the administrative functions. The second phase of our opening is going to be focused on those departments that have direct customer-facing responsibility. We view this as the most significant step in our reopening plan. It's going to include services such as the tax commissioner's office, a full opening of the tax assessor's office to the public, the courts, to some degree. Their administrative order ends on June 12th, which would put us in a mode of reopening our courts on a limited basis on June 15th. So they are going to be in the tranche, again, with some of those major services that are customer facing. We want to open in a way that is safe not only for our employees, but also for, and most importantly, the public that we serve. And so we have a lot of planning around that phase of the opening. And again, we're looking forward to doing that opening on June 15th. The tax commissioner's office is going to be open in all 5 locations. So if you can think of the scale of all that has to go into planning for both the public as well as the employees, it's going to be a tremendous effort. Also, we will have a second phase of that public opening that will include 141 Prior and all of the services that are delivered to the public in that building as well. Finally, we're looking at rethinking how we deliver some of our softer services that pull the public of vulnerable individuals back out of their homes and into service delivery. So you're talking about our senior centers, you're talking about our libraries. We want to be overly cautious in our engagement with that group. And so we have saved them for last and want to do as much planning as we can to protect those vulnerable individuals. Some of the things that we will do to protect our employees as well as the public is we are going to require face coverings to come into our county buildings. That's something that the board is going to consider at the next meeting. We're also going to require employees to have a COVID test before they come back to work. We're very excited about that. And the other thing that we're going to do is a deep cleaning or sanitization of all of our facilities prior to opening them. So we want to put everyone's mind at ease that we have prepared both our employees as well as our facilities to open back up to the public. We're, again, very excited about this step that we're taking. We do want to be cautious, and again, our priority is going to be the safety of our employees as well as the public.
Safety first. Well, thanks for the work that each of you have done to help us stay safe. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us. It was great.
And thanks again. As it relates to the county's justice system, while some court operations are currently being handled virtually, Georgia Supreme Court Chief Justice Harold Melton has extended the statewide judicial emergency order, ceasing some regular court-related operations until 11:59 p.m. on June 12, 2020. And still to come, there are more options for the public with or without symptoms to get tested for COVID-19. Details when we come back. Welcome back, everyone. Fulton County's Board of Health launches walk-up COVID-19 testing sites for the public. So what are the requirements to get a test, and where can you go to get one? Dr. David Holland with the Board of Health joins us now from the Center for Health and Rehabilitation, which was one of the locations. Sir, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for being out here.
Now, that location was just one of the many examples of the community testing sites that the Board of Health has helped to set up. So why was this approach critical in this testing phase?
Well, obviously the Department of Public Health is trying to greatly expand testing as part of its COVID control efforts. That's the first step in all of this, is find out who's infected. And so to make the testing more widely available, we're opening new sites across the county.
And doctor, what is the testing process at these county Board of Health sites?
Yeah, so it's really easy. It's pretty fast. You come in, we'll need to check you in and register you. And at the mobile sites, we do what's called a nasal self-swab. So basically you take a long Q-tip looking thing and just swab the outside of your nose. Well, just the inside of your nose, rather. And you do it yourself.
And what are your thoughts about people who are not showing symptoms getting tested?
So we're encouraging everybody to get tested now. We know that there are a fair number of people who have COVID that are asymptomatic, and there's some people that have COVID and will develop symptoms but just haven't yet. And those individuals can still spread the disease. So it's really important for everybody to get tested.
Dr. Holland, wrap it up for us. Your final thoughts?
The main thing that I would suggest is, it's important to remember that the disease is still spreading. We advise people to stay home as much as possible, avoid any kind of social gatherings. If you go out in public, wear a mask. Masks are very, very effective at preventing people from spreading the infection when they don't know they've got it. And you can get tested at by calling 404-613-8150, and we will set you up at one of our 5 testing sites.
Dr. Holland, thank you so much for your time and for all that you all are doing. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Now, here is that COVID-19 hotline for information, which is also available on the Fulton County Board of Health website. And when we return on this special Fulton Today, the COVID-19 update, everything you need to know if you plan on voting early in person. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. We're at the Fulton County South Annex, one of the early voting locations for the June 9th presidential preference primary, general primary, and special election. And while elections officials tell us that many chose the absentee process, many others chose to come to the polls. FGTV's Daryl Carver has more on Fulton's early voting process.
Sean, the folks here at Registration and Elections have been responding to the fact that at those 5 sites that they set up around the county, there was huge initial response from people who were determined to vote whether there was a pandemic or not.
Now, as we went to locations throughout Fulton County, we saw folks standing in line, keeping their adequate social distance at least 6 feet away from one another to cast those ballots. These are people that say they need to have their voices heard in spite of the pandemic.
Every vote counts, and I've been a voter registration. I've been on voter registration and I work the polls, so I enjoy voting. I want to exercise my right.
Because of the pandemic, many of these people say they were taking additional safety precautions and wearing masks while they were waiting in line.
I always wear my mask everywhere I go, and it's double mask, and I have my gloves in my pocket. I always put my gloves on, and I'm always washing my hands.
Because of the huge early crowds, the Registration and Elections Office had to take additional steps to make sure everyone was safe and had their voices heard. Therefore, they're expanding the hours for each of the 5 early voting locations for voting to begin at 7 o'clock in the morning each day. They're also trying to make sure there is that adequate social distance for everyone and try to find larger facilities to accommodate a surge in voters.
I understand that we don't want lines, but at the same time, I'm concerned with the welfare of our poll workers and the voters that show up. We've taken a lot of steps to mitigate the risk to the poll workers with face shields, face masks, gloves, using styluses, having plenty of hand sanitizer there.
Registration and Elections also wants to tell voters expect lines at many peak times a day if you do come out to vote. You will be required to remain at least 6 feet apart, and they're encouraging voters to wear face coverings if at all possible. Also, early voting will be offered at those 5 locations through June 5th. Voters who have requested an absentee ballot must either surrender that ballot when they come out to vote or complete an affidavit if they choose to vote at the polls.
And finally, if you do plan to go to one of those 5 locations and vote, you should know who your choices should be in advance. So they're telling people to please go online, check to see who is on the ballot so you can make those choices before you even arrive. And maybe the line will be sped up just a little bit more.
And Daryl, whatever lessons can be gleaned from this process will no doubt be also implemented for the June 9th election.
That's right, Shania. The folks here at Registration and Elections are learning a lot of things on the fly. Key among them is how to conduct an election in the middle of conditions that aren't the easiest to navigate, something that will bode very, very well for them when the June 9th elections begin.
All right, thank you very much, Daryl. Now, if it is time for you to get your vehicle tag renewed, we've got some news for you. As you may know, the county has a number of kiosks at Kroger stores and now being installed in all offices of the tax commissioner. Well, Fulton County residents can now renew their vehicle registration online and at kiosks without credit card or other processing fees. Now, for the list of all of the Kroger stores with a kiosk or for more information in general about the vehicle registration, log on to fultoncountytaxes.org. And still ahead on Fulton Today, we'll check in on how seniors are managing during this pandemic. Stay with us. And finally, we've been keeping an eye on how Fulton County seniors have been coping during this pandemic. As we've shared, Fulton County has taken specific measures to ensure that this treasured population stays safe and engaged. FGTV's Priscilla Baylog joins us now with more.
Shania, it's important for seniors to remain active and engaged, especially during this time. Earlier, I had the chance to sit down with the Director of Senior Services, Ladisa Onulagu, to talk about what they are doing to help seniors during this COVID-19 pandemic. Ladisa, health and wellness is important for seniors. Talk about how the Department of Senior Services is continuing to focus on these issues for seniors with virtual programming.
Well, we know that COVID-19 has closed the doors of many senior centers around the country, including our facility-based programming, but it has opened limitless possibilities to the way that we administer services. So our innovative approach or new method of delivering services is a virtual platform. The department has over 80 YouTube classes that are archived where seniors can join at their leisure based on their schedule and stay healthy and fit. We also have over 80 live Zoom classes offered every single week. And some of those include drama, stretch and tone, sound vibration, urban gardening, different types of art classes, even line dancing. So we are happy to continue to fulfill our mission of supporting healthy aging and quality of life through this new way of administering services.
Ladisa, how is Senior Services addressing health and safety while still providing programming?
Regarding the spectrum of health, our department is addressing emotional and mental health through weekly wellness checks. It is our opportunity to reach out to seniors to see not only how they're doing, but to determine if there are any additional referrals that our team members can make to them. We let them know about the programs that we have available to them, but it's a way to maintain a sense of connectedness with our customers, and so that we can make sure that we do not allow isolation to set in. Another way that we are addressing emotional health is through a partnership with the Behavioral Health Department. Their staff members have become pen pals, and they are writing letters or providing correspondence through emails or a telephone call to our homebound seniors. Ways that we are addressing safety is the fall prevention classes that are offered live, as well as YouTube classes on maintaining security and avoiding elder abuse and fraud.
Lydia said business has changed for everyone. Talk about how the Department of Senior Services has adapted to the COVID-19 pandemic.
If we consider learning and growth as a performance indicator, our team members have displayed tremendous adaptability to continuing the services that we provide to our seniors. They have quickly stood up a curbside delivery strategy when we were having seniors come to the facilities. We now provide meal delivery to seniors daily and have expanded that program. Another way that we've adapted our business model, again, is through the virtual platform. We meet more frequently as a team to make sure that we're all on the same page and understand the direction that our services are going. Our contractors have even adjusted their business model to make sure that they can continue providing quality service to our seniors and not allow COVID to create a disruption in life.
Nutrition is a top priority for seniors. Talk about how the department is continuing to focus on nutrition.
Home delivered meals is one of our core services, and we've always provided that as a department, and we have not stopped just in light of this pandemic. But one of the things that we've been able to do is expand our strategy by bringing on additional contractors to support meal delivery. Another way that we intend to continue supporting the nutritional needs and addressing food insecurity within the senior population is partnering with municipalities. I've received quite a few calls from individuals who are very interested in coordinating the way that we serve seniors. We want to make sure that there's no overlap or duplication in services, but bring efficiency in the process. So we're excited about what we're able to do and provide to our seniors, and intend to continue meeting the nutritional needs and even solving for food insecurity in Fulton County.
Ladisa, what are your final thoughts?
Individuals age 55 and older are still the fastest growing population in the county, and the programs and services that we provide are increasingly relevant, not only to help seniors maintain a level of independence, but to support their healthy aging goals and quality of life. So I would encourage your viewers to visit us online at the fultoncountyga.gov webpage, learn more about our virtual classes. They can check out our YouTube channel, or email us at seniorservices@fultoncountyga.gov. They may also call our star line at 404-613-6000.
As Ladisa said, a lot of programming is now available for seniors virtually. You can go to the Senior Services Department page on the Fulton County's website to learn more, and you can also call the star line at 404-613-6000. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Priscilla Baylog.
All right, thank you very much, Priscilla and Ladisa. And before we go, our reminder that FGTV wants to connect with you online. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for up-to-date Fulton County news. You can also watch a replay of this show and any other FGTV program anytime on our YouTube channel. So please do us a favor and subscribe. Well, that does it for this very special edition of Fulton Today. Thank you so much for watching. Join us each week for news around and about Fulton County. Stay safe, everybody.